Hey, I just want to thank everyone for coming out and supporting Kayla's crew and their mission. A few weeks ago, yeah, give them a hand. A few weeks ago, I met a bunch of the family from Kayla over in Franklin, trying to raise money for a great cause. And I noticed immediately not only the passion that they had for this mission, but the amount of love that they have for Kayla and how they want to remember her by building a playground. I just think that's a great idea. Please support this mission. As a special ed teacher for 21 years, I have a special place in my heart for kids with disabilities. So I think this mission really means a lot to me and the Franklin football team. Thanks again for coming.
As a fellow special education teacher, when I was first approached to participate in Kayla's crew along with the Greendale football team, I can't tell you how honored and humble it was for us to be asked to participate in such a worthy cause. The equal accessibility playground that's being built through friendship and compassion that is Kayla's crew speaks volumes based on all the support that you can see already here 15 minutes before game time. So enjoy the evening, have a great night, and visit kaylascrew.org.
Stadium for the second game of the 2013 Greendale High School football season. Tonight we have a doozy as Greendale will host the visiting Franklin Sabres. Both teams won big in week one and both teams have quarterbacks that are probably the best in the area, if not the state. Sean McGuire will be throwing the ball for Franklin while Josh Ringelberg will be throwing the ball for Greendale. This should be a good game. The Panthers would receive first to start the game. After the return, they would start their opening drive of the night from their 23. After 5 plays, they were looking at a 4th and 6 from Franklin's 49 and lined up for a punt. On the snap of the ball, punter Mitchell Breeze would roll to his left like most punters do with that rugby style, but then he tucked it away and took off up the left sideline, gaining enough yardage to keep the Panthers' drive alive. 3 plays later, quarterback Josh Ringelberg would find Breeze in the back of the end zone for a 14-yard toss for the first points of the game. Kicker Frankie Rakowski would split the uprights, making the score 7-0 with 9:01 remaining in the first quarter. Franklin would have to start from their 20 after Rakowski kicked it into the end zone. They ended up having to line up for a punt on their 24, going 3 and out. On the play, the center snapped the ball over the punter's head, who then had to chase it down and had no choice but to wisely throw the ball out of the back of the end zone for a 2-point safety. Because of the safety, Franklin had to kick the ball back to the Panthers. After the return, they found themselves starting at the midfield stripe. 11 plays later, they would have to settle for a 27-yard field goal try, which was no good, keeping the score at 9-0 with 3:30 left in the quarter. The Sabres would now take possession of the ball on their 20. Seven plays later, behind the strong arm of Sean McGuire, the Sabres reached the end zone on a 27-yard McGuire to Chad Walton touchdown pass. The point after try was good, making the score Greendale 9, Franklin 7 with 1:27 left in the first quarter. After what looked to be an onside kick attempt that ended up going out of bounds, Greendale would take over from their 43. They were forced to punt from their 47, going 3 and out. On the punt, Breeze would reach the end zone, forcing the Sabres to start from their 20 once again. They got off 9 plays before looking at a 4th and 7 from their 39. They lined up looking like they were going for it, but McGuire then would pooch punt it all the way down to the Panthers' 3. Greendale was now starting from deep in a hole. That doesn't seem to bother them, for they just look at this as another challenge. 14 plays later, Ringelberg would throw the ball to Breeze in the left flat, who then eluded 5 Franklin defenders, taking the ball all the way into the end zone from 38 yards out. Rakowski made the kick, and Greendale was now up 19-7 with 3:41 remaining in the first half. After the ensuing kick, Franklin would start from their 28. They strung 13 plays together before Brandon Cook would intercept the ball for Greendale on his 13-yard line. Panthers couldn't cash in on that turnover, however, as they were forced to punt going 3 and out. The clock would run out on that play, ending the first half with Greendale on top, 16-7. Panthers would kick first to start the second half. After the return, Franklin would begin from their 16. The Panthers defense seemed to be on a roll now as they forced Franklin to punt from their 23 after only allowing 5 plays. After the kick, Ringelberg and company would set up on their 34. This time they looked a little ragged and were forced to punt from their 29 going 3 and out. After a short kick, the Sabres would take over from their 45. With the ball resting on the 50, Franklin was looking at a 4th and 5. They elected to go for it but came up short on an attempted run by McGuire. Greendale would now take over on their 49. It was on this drive that a bunch of interesting things would happen. It first started on the 7th play in the drive as Ringelberg would find Nate Miller wide open in the end zone for an apparent touchdown. There was a penalty on the play, however, as there was an illegal receiver downfield. That would back them up 5 yards to the Franklin 11. 3 plays later, on 4th down, the ball was resting on the 1-yard line. Ringelberg would sneak it in for what looked to be a sure touchdown, but there was another penalty. The officials got together and discussed the matter, and then all of a sudden they said that he didn't reach the end zone, so Franklin would decline a penalty and take over on Greendale's 1. Naturally, the Greendale bench was a little excited and they were flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct, so that would give the Sabres a little more breathing room as they would start from their 15. On the very first play, McGuire would drop back deep and throw the ball down the middle, but there was Josh's brother, Jack Ringelberg, who intercepted the ball for Greendale on his 42. 2 plays later, Ringelberg would burn Franklin's secondary again as he hooked up with Breeze for a 46-yard touchdown pass. This would be Breeze's 3rd TD catch of the game. Rakowski made the kick and Greendale now extended their lead by a score of 23-7 with 2:42 left in the 3rd quarter. After the kick, Franklin would start from their 29. 5 plays later, McGuire connected with Austin Meyer for a 10-yard touchdown pass. The try for 2 failed, and Franklin now found themselves only trailing by a score of 23-13 with 1:01 left in the 3rd. After the ensuing kick, Greendale would take over from their 33. 7 plays later, Ringelberg torched the Sabres again as he found his other secret weapon in Cody Metz over the middle for a 43-yard touchdown pass. The point after try was good, making the score 30-13 with 10:50 now left in the game. After the kick, the Sabres would start from their 41 after a nice return. Greendale's defense would now dig in and force the Sabres to punt from their 25 as they went 3 and out. After the return, Greendale now lined up on their 45. 6 plays later, Greendale found the end zone again on a nice effort by running back Jake Zawicki, who bounced off a few tackles and scored from 36 yards out. Rakowski split the uprights again, and Greendale now had a little bit of a cushion by a score of 37-13 with 7:31 left in the game. One thing that you can never do with a team like Franklin is to let up, for they have the firepower to score quickly. After the kick, they would start from their 20 as a juiced-up Rakowski kicked the ball out of the back of the end zone. Just like that, Franklin was inside Greendale's 10 in 6 plays. That's when the Panthers' unknown defense dug in and forced the Sabres to turn the ball over on downs at their 9-yard line. The Panthers would run 6 plays to burn the rest of the clock up to end the game. The final score would be Greendale 37, Franklin 13. Going into tonight, it was thought that the team that made the most mistakes would probably lose the game. In the end, that's exactly what happened, as there were a lot of drop passes by Franklin along with 3 turnovers. Greendale, on the other hand, continued to make big plays using all of the weapons available to them. The Panthers' defense also rose to the occasion as they held Franklin to just 60 yards on the ground, but more importantly, they contained the #1 quarterback in the state, Sean McGuire, and prevented him from having his way on the field. Needless to say, Ringelberg outshined McGuire tonight, completing 20 of 31 passes for 319 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Panthers will now have to hit the road as they will start conference play next week against Pius. That game will be played at Wisconsin-Lutheran College and will start at 7 o'clock. Hope to see you all there. So long.